Dave Abrams.
And I'm Kristin and Dave. Welcome to Arundel County Week in Review. In this week's episode, we'll preview an Easter egg hunt that's coming up, and we'll meet the county's new grants officer. But first, making headlines this week. The budget season has begun. County Executive Steve Schuh held his first public meeting this week where citizens met with him one-on-one to talk about their priorities for the upcoming fiscal year that begins on July 1st. Members of the public came out to Meade Middle School to talk about the issues most important to them, including taxes, pay for teachers, firefighters and police officers, and capital projects such as road improvements and park upgrades. Schuh said that he was happy to hear directly from constituents and will take their comments into consideration as he prepares to present his budget proposal to the County Council on May 1st.
We've had a great evening today. A lot of citizens came and sat down with various department heads to give their input on the budget process. We're still at the front end. It's only March 1st, so we have a long way to go to put this budget together, but I'm very optimistic about this coming budget. The economy in Arundel County is very strong, and as a result of that, revenues to county government are coming in pretty well. And I think that means good things for the education budget, for the public safety budget, and for our various quality of life initiatives in the Department of Recreation and Parks. So knock on wood, I think we're going to have a great budget year.
If you missed the meeting, there will be another opportunity on Tuesday, March 6th at Glen Burnie High School at 6 p.m. So try to get there early so you can sign up to talk to the county executive directly. If you can't make it out in person, you can also submit your comments online. Just go to aacounty.org and click on the budget spotlight. Now, you were at the meeting, Dave. What were people talking about?
Well, I've been to a lot of these, so to me it seems like you hear kind of the same things every year, but there was a big contingent of teachers there who are obviously, want higher pay. There were a lot of folks from communities talking about development issues. It's one of those things where, it's about the budget, but people really, they just talk about what they want to talk about. It could be anything, but it's a nice opportunity to get FaceTime with the county executive. So you're not, you can actually tell him your personal story and what you think is most important. So he's not just going by what departments tell him or what his staff tells him. He can hear straight from the folks who are living it every day. So, good turnout, and it's good that people are participating. It's important, right?
Yes. Have to speak up.
Got to speak up. Well, Kristin, Future Planners of America were hard at work this week at Arundel High School. The Chesapeake Regional Association of Student Councils and the county's high school signature programs organized a general assembly to discuss land use issues and how they can be a part of the general development plan. Students outlined the state of Maryland and the county in yarn, of course, and then identified the high schools within those yarn maps. Mark Wildonger, our friend from the Office of Planning and Zoning, provided a quick presentation of land use planning and the general development plan process. Students then broke out into groups to write down their ideas of what the community should look like. By their respective signature program, they reported out their main themes like more parks and more transportation. The work by the students will be included in the general development plan that is being put together as we speak. Now, you can join the process as well. Just go to aacounty.org/plan2040. You can also click on the blue link on the page that says Youth Survey to submit comments if you're a student in Anne Arundel County. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Did you want to be a planner when you were in high school? Tell us about that.
I mean, that kind of planner?
Like a land use planner.
No, and as far as like planning in general, I'd say I've probably hit my quota.
You're not a big planner.
For the year with the wedding.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at planning.
Yeah.
But I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we're like left brain
land
people.
Use planning. I think that would be pretty neat. I love that we are incorporating the thoughts of our youth, like we just recently did with the PALS program.
Right.
So it's really great to get their perspective because this is where they live too, and it's interesting to hear about what they think we need more of. So things like parks or expanding the public transportation, like you said. The yarn. That's pretty neat. I'd like to see those.
Old school.
That's old school.
I think what I would like about, I wonder about this sometimes because I used to be a newspaper reporter and I was like the only reporter in the newsroom who would write stories about zoning because it's just so dense.
It's not a hot
and
topic.
R5 and R22
that's
and
sexy in the
all that.
journalism world.
Yeah, and I liked the challenge of it because you had to write a whole news article without using acronyms like R5 and R2 and stuff like
Right.
that. It was a challenge. But I also like maps. I am a big map person. I love maps, and I think that's really the fun of it, is when you can take a map and you can, draw out the area that you want to do something with, and then just use your imagination and come up with something really cool and innovative.
So if you were a planner, what do you think that you'd like to incorporate as far as land use goes?
I love town centers, and it so happens.
You don't think we have enough?
Well, we have a town center that is just getting going here, Odenton Town Center.
Well, Odenton, yeah, but we've been working on that one.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, if you look at it right now, it's still very much, let's call it a, what's the term, what's a blank slate, a tabula rasa?
Oh, okay.
It's still got a lot to go. I mean, you're talking about thousands of people, constituents, who don't exist
So still
yet.
developing that, but I mean additional.
What should I do? Well, I think you're
Past
right.
that.
I don't think we really need any more town centers. We have Annapolis, we have Glen Burnie, and we have Crofton.
Yeah.
So, and Odenton. So
Maybe some
that's
nature
kind
conservancy space.
Yes.
I would say
always,
that.
Always.
Some wetland preservation.
Always. And fun fact.
Yes.
When we did some research on this to determine, what to do for the general development plan and to propose some initiatives that look at growth and land use, we determined that Anne Arundel County is almost right on the dot, 50% green space, 50% developed.
Interesting.
And that's, if you think about that, that's a lot of
Yeah.
land mass that's protected, that's green, it's forest and waterways. So that's pretty good, and that's a pretty, it makes something that's very complicated very simple, that 50-50. And basically our goal is, we're going to keep it right there.
Yeah.
We want it to be 50-50.
I like it.
I think that makes sense.
I agree.
Huh?
I think it does.
Huh?
Well, with all the national debate raging about shootings at schools, we have a great event coming up in South County for residents to educate themselves about what to do if faced with such a tragedy. Our friend Corporal Jim Shiloh, an expert with the county's police department on active shooter techniques, will be the guest speaker at the Anne Arundel United Coffee Club at the Deal Library on Friday, March 9th. And we've had Corporal Shiloh on this show before, and his presentation is really educational. His mantra is avoid, deny, defend. You remember?
Yes.
He'll be so proud of you.
Yes, he's excellent.
He is awesome. I've actually been in one of his presentations aside from the interview. And
Were you a prop?
No, I wasn't a prop.
Oh, okay.
I was
Did
taking the
you-
class.
Okay.
So please try to attend this great meeting at Deal at 9 a.m. Bring your kids. You can also find Corporal Shiloh's presentation on YouTube. Very important to be discussing this.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch the whole, because he's not going to have time. We had him on the show here, and he, briefly went over, the three avoid, deny, defend, and talked about the program generally.
But it's like a 10
Yeah, it's like an
10-minute
hour-long
interview,
presentation.
and he has a whole hour-long
Right.
presentation, which is really fascinating. I
Right.
mean, and it's not just for schools; it's also about other public spaces where
Yep.
you might
Your office.
offices,
Yep.
shopping centers. So it's really important. To
And we
have
guarantee
that.
you will learn something you did not know before you watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't get the deal on a Friday morning, go on YouTube and search for Anne Arundel shooter, first-person shooter, Corporal
Active
Shiloh.
shooter, yeah.
You will find
You'll
it.
find it.
Very easily. You will
I
find
believe
it
in you.
so quickly you will be amazed. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will talk to our grants officer, Sandy Smolnicky. Take a look at our community calendar for events happening around town, and we'll be right back.
If you smoked, this new lung cancer screening could save your life. Visit SaveByTheScan.org.
Well, welcome back. Joining us in the studio this week, we're delighted to have Ms. Sandy Smolnicky, our grants officer. How's it going, Sandy?
Oh, great. I have the best job ever. The
Yeah?
best job in county government. No
Better
doubt
than
about
Kristin's
it.
job?
I think so.
Probably.
I think so.
And
yeah.
you're so excited about it. I can't wait to hear about it. So
Oh,
talk
thank
to us about what a grants officer does.
Well, thank you. Well, in August of 2017, County Executive Steve Schuh saw fit to sort of organize how the county is receiving its grants, using its grants, managing its grants. And so my job is to make sure that we're getting the most out of them to improve the life of citizens in Anne Arundel County. It's a
bang
great
for our
job.
buck.
Right. So I've got to work with all the departments, and we have some really hardworking people who write amazing grants in our departments. Every time I went from one department to the next one was my favorite department. You know, people just so passionate about what they're doing, and so it just makes makes my job easier to find new sources of grants or creative sources that we can use to better the life of residents here.
Love it. Now tell us about the kind of grants that are out there for counties.
Oh, okay. So, you don't just look under a rock and find a grant. You know, you've really got to do something to.
If only it were that easy.
I know.
I found out there is not a website where it just tells you all of them.
No,
There's your list of available grants.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of really great websites, grants.gov, and then, of course, the Maryland's grants website. But, the kinds of grants that are available for county government, we've got federal, state, and then some local and private. So I'm very fortunate. We have 250 grants that come into the county, all different sorts of grants. So if you think about the county departments, then you realize you can pretty much walk anywhere in the county and you'll see grants at work. So maybe we can do that sometime. But
I like that.
We have the Department of Aging. So you have, who wouldn't want to help a senior? Aging needs respite services at times. Sometimes Medicare and Medicaid added together cannot get them into an apartment. We have referral services. All of that is funded through grants. And of course, the substance abuse treatment and prevention is funded in part by grants. But some things you may not think about, like shoreline restoration. The police have numerous initiatives such as vehicle theft prevention and alcohol compliance checks. A lot of their overtime, some of the quality of life stuff that they do is funded by grants. Of course, MEMA. I mean, we could go on for hours about how much effort is funded by grants in this county. We're very fortunate.
And as good as all the individuals in the departments are at applying for grants and receiving grants, this is kind of a big management technique by the county executive that, you see this with boards and commissions and with all kinds of different places where he came in and he saw, okay, we're doing all this, but it's kind of like this department's doing their thing and this department's doing their thing. We need to find a way where everybody is on the same page, and here comes Sandy Smolnicky to take care of it.
Absolutely. I'm trying. We do have multiple ways because everybody's different. Everybody's an individual, and they are doing a fine job. So my job is to streamline some of that, is to take the burden off of them, to take the paperwork burden off of them, and to make their job easier. Because often, the folks in the department who are writing the grants, they have other things to do too. Grants is not their sole job. Now,
right.
The largest department, health, certainly there are people who only write grants and who manage the grants. So we have the grant writer, the program part, and we have the finance part. What was sort of missing before I came was attention to the program part, making sure that, as you point out, Dave, that the grants are aligning with the county executive strategic goals. So that's the other piece of what I do, is make everything streamlined.
Well, tell us about, so you are a spreadsheet guru. You are excellent at spreadsheets. I've seen her spreadsheets. She does Gantt charts. We'll talk about Gantt charts
How
later.
exciting.
But I know, it's very exciting. And I'm going to make it even more exciting. You just got a new toy that is a grants management system. Tell us just roughly what that does. What is it?
I can barely remain in my seat about this.
It's so exciting.
I mean, I have been running around the office talking about this. It is great. We have just contracted with a company called eCivis, and it is a grants management software company. So what they do is they will come in and make it super easy, automated, to research grants. So what I will do is select the 150 users, and we have actually probably more than 150 users, and they will we will be able to automate how we search for grants, how we submit grants. There will be a repository of successful grants, even ones that we didn't write. We'll have access to all that great information that we can use to go ahead and try to leverage some more grants.
Because writing grants is a very specific skill, and it's almost like, it reminds me of like when you take a history class in college and there's like a formula to it, like writing a history term paper. It's not so much about great writing as much as it is about, you gotta hit all these bases. You have to follow directions, you have to answer every single specific thing that the grant solicitation mentions, and that's a skill that not everyone has. You have to be a grant person to be able to write these things.
Interesting point that we do have some that are very labor intensive. We also have some that are simply we get every year, and they're one form, you fill it out. We never kind of really know how much we're going to get. And then we get sometime into the spring, so right about now, there may be some extra money, and we get notices of that. But as you point out, it's very time consuming. So right now, our departments are working on grants that we won't know that we'll receive until maybe August or September.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So you have to be very patient, and therefore planning and looking ahead is very, very important. You don't want to write the wrong grant, because if you write the wrong grant, then you've got way too much where you go, oh my gosh, how did we get this grant? Why did we get this grant? You've got to make sure that it really is going to fund something that we actually need.
How many grants do you think we have?
We have 264.
264.
that
Are we looking at more?
We absolutely need more. The reason we need more is we're always looking at more, but we don't want to overburden the staff in place right now. But I mean, we have needs. We have equipment needs. Clearly, we have human services needs, mental health needs. There's needs in our schools system. There's needs. The needs are basically very overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming.
They're infinite.
They're infinite.
Yeah.
So we have to look at ways to overcome them and target strategically with evidence-based practices with our grants. So that's my job as well. So the interesting thing that I discovered today, in fact, was that we have 38 new grants that our departments found in the last year. I thought, 38 new grants, and most of them are 1 year in duration. So there's this constant churning and fluid effort that is behind the scenes in county government that I'm sort of uncovering and wanting to improve.
That's awesome.
What about citizens and nonprofits? Can they apply for grants from the county?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The best way for a nonprofit to apply for a grant would be to contact either me or the department that they think is most aligned with their mission. So you've got to start with your mission, and there are grant funds available at the department level. So the other twist on this is I'm also responsible for administering the Anne Arundel County Fund, and so what I do there is as you know, the Community Foundation is the recipient of the funds. I am the position that makes certain that the funds are going to be spent in a way that the donor requires, and that there's an actual need that's being fulfilled. So to that
And just to remind people, that's the Anne Arundel Fund is a way that people can individually donate to certain programs and services that Anne Arundel County provides.
Correct.
Just to
if you have a
clarify.
favorite department, or maybe a department has served you in a way that you'll never forget. For example, health, fire, aging, animal control. Yes, you can donate. And so then we want to make sure those funds are spent. But the nonprofits are a very, very important part of the fabric of our society. So our county relies on them, and our departments look forward to their submissions.
I call them our safety net. They really are our safety net, and they provide services that the county just doesn't provide. So they have to be there, and they have to survive and do well.
And guess what? The new grants management software will help us to manage those grants as well. The departments will be able to issue solicitations and also take the reports right online. Nonprofits will have a login. It's going to be much easier for everybody.
Cool.
Sandy, you got me all jazzed up about that.
Yeah.
I love grants.
Me too. Congratulations on your new software.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the studio. You're welcome back anytime. I always love people that are passionate about their work. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this. Don't go anywhere.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education. I dare you to be somebody important. Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star. I dare you to stand up here. To call the shots. To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher.
Think you can change my life?
Make me excited about science like you. Have a career that really means something? Then do it. I dare you.
Welcome back. You know that the sun is trying to peek out when we start talking about Easter. Sara Gannon has information coming up about a really fun Easter egg hunt. Sarah?
Thanks, guys. Today I'm at the Church of the Nazarene in Glen Burnie, which is in the Margate community. And with me is Pastor Mike Roth. Ruth, I'm sorry. Thank you for joining me today. Can you tell me, I know you have a great celebration coming up around the Easter holiday. Could you give me some information about what's coming up here?
Yeah, one of the things that we try to do is partnership with various parachurch organizations and community with various events, and one of those is the Easter egg hunt that we do each year. And they've asked us if we would host that in previous years, so it became an annual tradition. And we've been doing it ever since. And this year it's going to be on March 31st, the day before Easter, at 12 o'clock. And then we have a master magician and balloon person, wonderful job making balloons for the kids, just mesmerizes them. Done a little bit of ventriloquism and that kind of thing. And so we've been doing that, and it's caught on, and each year we hope it gets bigger and the kids get to find the eggs and then come in for the presentation and just have a good time.
Very good. And then this is open to the public. It's not just to the Margate community, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And is there a charge for admission or for any of the festivities?
No, we cover all of that. The community normally buys the candy, and we take care of the cost for the balloon man and his job and his show. And we've even had a couple of neighbors from time to time actually cover that cost. So it's been a blessing to us too. Yeah.
That is. Wow, that is great. It's good to have church and the community partner. It really is.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know even the county has helped with packaging some things for you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we were doing something else over here. Actually, we were getting ready for the Not My Child presentation, which we also hosted here. And I believe, it was Nancy Shrum who came in and saw what we were doing with another project. They're called crisis care kits. And there's about 15 items, hygiene items, that go into a 2-gallon baggie. And those are sent around the world, anywhere there's a disaster, where there's people who are homeless or displaced because of earthquakes, fires, and even war sometimes. And they just need a helping hand because there's no way to clean up, and that's...
Now, do you take those year round?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Excellent.
we do it all year. Yeah.
So if you're looking to do something for the community, what is your address here? Can you give them your address?
Certainly. It's 100 Northdale, one word, Northdale Road, Glen Burnie, Maryland, 21060.
And does your church have a website or a Facebook page that they can also go on to get some more information about what you all are doing here?
Yeah, it's GB, as in Glen Burnie, Nazarene.org.
Great. So, like I said, if you're wanting to get involved with the community, do a donation of the crisis bags, or come out for the Easter egg hunt.
Absolutely.
It'll be here before we know it. Hippity hoppity, here comes Peter Cottontail, right? Well, thanks again for all that you do for Margate and just the Glen Burnie community.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you. Back to you in the studio.
Kids sure do love Easter egg hunts.
And so does Kristin.
I was the queen of Easter egg hunts.
Of course.
I used to push kids down.
Including your little sister.
Kristin, help your baby sister. Because sometimes my grandmother would hide dollar bills in those Easter eggs. This is an enterprise. I'm trying to run something here.
Poor Vicky.
Get out of the way.
Poor Vicky.
Give her those Easter eggs.
You know what? She's grown up now, and she will pop you one if you mess with her.
Whatever.
Is she still, like, as an adult, she's a little scared of you because?
Heck no! It completely turned. It swapped
There was
probably about 13, 14.
Really? there was that day where you came up and
It
started
was one of
messing
those
with
days
you,
where
and
she
just
started
popped
messing
you.
with me, and I was like,
Wait,
what happened?
you can't do that.
What the power has shifted. And we're sisters.
Yeah.
Now we just, she'll put me in a headlock today, and she'll be like, "I love you so much." She always does that. I love you so much.
Well, there are two things that we're segueing here into. Don't you like on this show how we segue into seasons?
Yes.
Like we obsess on whatever the season is, and then we
Yes,
start
we're talking about
Wait,
Easter.
what? This is coming. So we were just whining about snow.
Yep.
Which we got like none.
None.
Oh, I just jinxed it.
Yeah, we're probably going to
That's
get a
just
ton in March.
But I'm going to win this year because I was the lowest, so I'm going to win.
I don't
but,
know, Dave.
So the other big story is, of course, this weekend they're having the Stadium Series. The Washington Capitals are playing the Toronto Maple Leafs at Naval Academy Stadium outside.
Exciting.
Isn't that cool?
That is amazing.
So are you a hockey fan?
Not so much. I will say that I was keeping tabs with the Olympics on the U.S. teams.
We didn't
just
do
because
so
of
good.
No, women's.
Canada kicked our butts. Oh, okay, the women's,
Women's
right.
was an amazing
That
game.
was amazing.
So I didn't get to watch much of the Olympics. Is it over now?
It's
I don't
over.
even know. Is it still going on?
Yep, you missed it. It's over.
No, it's not. I didn't
It's
miss
over.
it all.
You missed
There
most
were
of
some
it.
things that I watched. Hockey, I tried to make a point to watch that.
Well, you
just
know,
'cause the rivalry.
the greatest hockey game in history supposedly was this Canada-U.S.
This
game
rivalry?
in the 70s in the Olympics. So there's so much build up for it. That is the main event of the Winter Olympics
Yes.
every time.
Well, the women, yeah.
And how about the woman from the Czech Republic who won in snowboarding and skiing? She did both and got gold medals in both.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
That's
doing
amazing.
both of those things?
Multi-talented.
That's like remember Carl Lewis? He would win all the gold medals in track, and then he would do like high jump, like he would do other events and win gold in that. That's amazing. It's one thing to be a world-class athlete, but then when you can do it in completely different, physical motor memory ways is crazy.
I mean, like, remember when Michael Jordan decided he wanted to try baseball? Didn't really work out that well.
You know what? Easy on MJ.
I'm just saying.
MJ is my favorite, okay? And he could
Russell
do
Wilson
no
apparently
wrong.
is going to go hang out with the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
I
there.
have
That's
no
such
idea.
a gimmick. I don't understand what they're trying to do. It's not like he's not going to play football. Like he's
Yeah.
going to play football.
Yeah.
But real quick before we go,
Yeah.
I am really interested in this outdoor hockey thing, these exhibition games that they're doing.
When did you
and
say
I'm
it
not a
is?
big hockey guy. It's this weekend, so too late.
Okay.
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
sold out. These things are so wildly popular.
Why didn't I hear about this until you?
I know. Well, I bring the news to you,
Who is their PR person?
But my thing is, Kristin, my thing is like, why are they doing it in March in Maryland? It's going to be warm. Like, you got to do it when it's cold out. It's hockey.
Maybe they knew that we were having a bombogenesis this year, so they decided to wait a little bit.
A what?
The bombogenesis.
What is that?
That was that big, crazy winter wind storm that we had on January 6th.
Oh, didn't even know about that. I must have been sleeping.
You were at my wedding.
Oh, is that your...
That was the bombogenesis.
That was it?
Yeah, it was like
cold.
6 degrees.
It was very cold.
So maybe they thought with that all going on, they should wait a substantial amount of time to try and do this.
All right. Well, next year, let's try and go to one of these outdoor
wanna
hockey
go.
exhibitions.
Sounds
I think it would be
awesome.
fun. Everyone always
Oh my
tells
gosh,
me hockey
it's gonna
is
be
so great in
crazy.
person.
It's going to be crazy downtown.
Yeah, folks, you might not want to go to
If you're
downtown
thinking about going out to
Annapolis
dinner, don't-
tomorrow. Don't do
don't
it.
do it.
No, don't do it. Or stay overnight Friday
Yeah.
so you can walk. Well, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archive episodes online anytime on Facebook or YouTube by simply searching for Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for highlights and news from around the county, and we'll see you next time.
Go Caps!
Go Caps! Get 'em!